Okay, you got a hospital visit planned, maybe a general all-round checkup, or you want to get something taken care of procedurally. I've got a guest who says, gonna go to the hospital, think again. Brian Snyder, who happens to represent Snyder and Wenner law firm. And Brian, Reader's Digest says, on the cover of Reader's Digest, I think it's this month, 50 secrets hospitals won't tell us, which of course doesn't give me a feeling of tremendous security anyway. If I can't trust my doctor or my hospital, who can I trust?
Yourself. That's the only person you can trust in these situations. Doctors and nurses are there to help you. They're there to try to get you better. But the problem is hospitals are a business. And so a lot of the times your well-being gets put below the bottom line. So you need to be your own best representative.
Are most mistakes that are made in the hospital surgical?
There are a lot of surgical. There's a lot of medical management mistakes though. Nurses not administering the right type of medication, or the doctor's ordering the wrong kind. I mean, I have a case right now where a doctor actually convinced his patient she needed urologic surgery when she didn't, and then he performed the surgery incorrectly, and now she's left with a major, serious incontinence problem.
All right, but his representative in that suit that no doubt is either taking place now or has taken place, in that suit, his defender would say, everybody makes a mistake, and medicine can't be held liable just because they make the same mistakes that engineers do or attorneys.
Absolutely, and that's what they always say, and that's what a lot of the public believes. Hey, doctors are there to help us. But everyone makes mistakes. If I make a mistake as a lawyer, I get sued. And if a doctor makes a mistake, he or she gets sued. That's part of the cost of doing business, unfortunately.
Why in the world would a doctor ever leave a surgical procedure in an operating room before it was over? I was reading this.
This is one of the major bombshells that came out in the last month or so, that it was a doctor who was a whistleblower essentially on the East Coast and said, this is just not right. Doctors are doing concurrent surgeries and they're not telling the patient. So they're operating on you or your loved one. And in the middle of that operation, they're leaving to go operate on somebody else. And then they're coming back to finish up your operation. And the only benefit to anyone is that the doctor and the hospital get to bill twice for the same amount of time. There's no benefit to the patient, and they're not telling the patient.
Is when you're operated on important? You know, we have a calendar of best times to travel, best times to eat this particular kind of food. If I'm planning a surgery, what about that?
So you want to stay away from the major holidays because most of the top doctors are going on vacation. So stay away from the holidays. And I always tell our clients and friends and family, stay away from Fridays, because do you really want your doctors or nurses looking forward to what they're doing on the weekend?
I don't want to be thinking about whether my doctors or nurses are thinking about what they're going to be doing on a ski weekend.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. We had a case recently that the doctor left and went skiing for 10 days with his patient still in the hospital, and the patient was receiving no care, and she ended up with an amputation. So it happens.
Short of having to call Snyder and Wenner after the fact, what in the world can I do? It's tough enough being in the hospital, just saying to the nurse, for example, do I have to have that kind of soup? Much less, is that the right kind of medicine?
You just need to be vigilant, ask questions. No one wants to annoy their doctors or nurses. No one wants to be a burden on them. You want the doctor or nurse to like you, but you need to ask questions. What I always suggest is keep a journal of what's happening. So you can say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing, and then you can compare it to the records later.
Yeah, but that doesn't help me while I'm in there.
Ask questions. That's the most important part. Why are we doing this? Are there alternatives? Is there something else we can do other than surgery? Is there another medication that maybe isn't so potent? Ask questions.
Here's the question I want to ask right now. I've never gotten an answer to this one. Okay, I'm looking at my bill, right? Excuse me, but why is this Band-Aid $75?
Because they can. And because what hospitals do is they have a very large lobbying group, and they are able to lobby. We can bill as much as we want. Medicare or your insurance will pay us a specified amount, and sometimes they then come after the patient for the remainder. It's called balanced billing. So the hospitals can charge whatever they want and try to get it back however.
But there's no other business that does that.
There's not, but they have you in a precarious situation.
Like a Band-Aid.
Exactly.
But I can't do anything about that, can
Can't do
I?
anything about it, but you should look at your bill to make sure you're not being double charged for things.
And if I am double charged, I can always call Brian Snyder at Snyder and Wenner. And if Snyder's not in and he's on a ski vacation, you can always call Wenner. This is Pat McMahon. And you know what? I'm offering you a cup of tea in just a moment.